you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
And Bobbie, you're rolling.
All right. Let's ask them to be quiet or shut the door or something in that next room.
There's not a door.
Okay.
Dubsy, guys, can we have a little quiet just while we shoot? Standing by, and quiet on the set. Action.
You usually have an AD to do that, don't you?
But the budget cuts at Fox are horrendous, and I intend to complain.
Telling them that you had to do action all by yourself.
Well,
Anyway.
I usually do action, but it's the standing by bit that's someone else's job.
It is so nice to see you again, Beth.
Yeah, it's lovely to be talking again. Mum.
And thank you for coming to Dallas as part of your tour.
Well, it was important to me actually because, do you know, the Dallas Film Festival were going to do a retrospective, and I couldn't make it because we were in Cannes. But it's always been, I think my films have always been embraced here, you know, in a really special way, so I had to come down.
Well, do you have any gut feeling about how this one is going to be received?
You know, we know that in New York and LA, because it's been out on a screen there, that what I set out to make, which is an audience participation movie, you know, where people clap the numbers and make a lot of noise, that's happening. And it's happening at 10 a.m. session as well as at late night sessions. So it's good there. What we don't know is how it will be received broadly. And, you know, but I do think that slightly more than maybe other territories in the US, that in Dallas, you know, Strictly Ballroom was so embraced here. And Romeo and Juliet too. So I think maybe people are just a little bit more prepared for what they're in for. But you cannot tell. I mean, finally, it is a musical. It's comic, it's tragic, and people do break out into song. These are the facts. And the first 15 minutes is as confronting as people say. It's very full on. But then it becomes quite classical. And what I'm finding is, you know, I was on a radio station here just earlier. This guy about my age, you know, was saying like, you know, I didn't know. I went along there, oh, wow. And it's not about a demographic. It's not just about, you know, young girls or older men. It's about types of people. People who want to have a really full experience and want to be with a whole crowd of other people and feel like they've been like to a rock concert or they've been to a theatre show, that they're very alive. That's the kind of result that we're getting. So it's for that kind of person.
Usually your films are more widely received in the international market rather than the domestic US market. Why is that?
I don't know. I think, you know, we had a great, I mean, Romeo and Juliet did 50, something like that, so it was quite embraced. But I think it's just been, each one has grown. And it's been a progressive breaking down of the walls. You know, in America, it's such a strong film industry, and films are very clearly put into mechanisms. Do you know that it's a comedy, it's a tragedy, it's a war epic? Do you know they're sold like that? It's more about the selling of it than anything. It's very hard to, no poster or trailer can convey this movie. The only reason people are charging off to see the movie at the moment is because friends are turning around saying, I know it sounds wacky, like a Virgin 89, but it works. You've got to go and see it. That's why people are going to see the movie, you know, and it's word of mouth. And I think just over the years now, I've just built, you know, people like yourself who have seen it and have actually been people who've been capable of articulating what it is, you know? But it's taken a long time.
In your own country, Australia, now, hasn't it set a new record?
Yes, it beat the Crocodile Dundee record for opening weekend. It's not bad. And it's got #1 film, #1 album, #1 single, you know. But here we're #1 single. And we're #8 on the charts, so, and the film opens this weekend. What everyone's very excited about at Fox, and this doesn't mean it translates wide, is that we have lines around the block and people are coming 2 and 3 times, you know, already. And there's this thing, they without being told, they feel they can applaud during the movie. And that's unusual. That makes me feel good, because that's what I hope to make, something that people commune in, you know? It's like we're all in this room together watching this movie. Oh, boo, good, you know? So on and so forth.
I read that the budget was $50 million, is that right? 50 million US.
Yeah.
I must tell you that I was stunned. I thought that figure can't be right because it looks so much more
That's
expensive.
right. And on top of that, we had, you know, we have stars, but we had like, you know, I worked with David Bowie and Beck and, you know, Bono, and so musically, and just the publishing alone. But everybody, it was hard to make it at that number. It really did cost that amount of money. But everybody wanted to see a musical work. Everyone from the Bowies to the Nicole Kidmans to the everybody put their fee in and said, look, we really want to see this work. So that want to see it work, I think, helped us make it at the right number, because no way could we make it for more. No one will give us more than that. That's for sure.
And the actors then had to take less money than they're accustomed to?
Indeed, really in a big way, Everyone kind of did. You know, everyone put their money in one way or another. And even in the music publishing, they were really supportive of us, you know. Because you think alone, there are millions of dollars worth of publishing in there, you know.
Yes, when I kept kind of keeping record of the musical numbers, and I thought, the music clearance must have been a nightmare for this thing.
Well, I went and saw everyone. I went and saw Elton John and Dolly Parton and, you know, I mean, I went and saw Courtney Love, you know, for Teen Spirit. And the great thing was that this was something exciting to them, that popular tunes should be used as a musical. Because, you know, if it was the 1940s, you know, Bono from U2 would be writing musicals. You know, they would be doing music for musicals, you know.
In recent years, movie musicals have not been successful. A case in point, Evita, I thought was a wonderful film. I loved it. And it just didn't catch on. How many studios did you talk with before Fox said, okay, we'll greenlight it?
Actually, I have this very unique deal. See, I've made these two other films, Strictly Ballroom, Romeo and Juliet, and nobody wanted me to make a film about ballroom dancing or Shakespeare, but they made a lot of money, you know, worldwide, and they got a lot of awards, right? So I have a very unique deal with Fox, which is basically, it's like, I mean, do you think they were going like, please make a modern dress Shakespeare? You know, no, you know, so because it made a lot of money and because it won awards, their thing was, well, it's a Baz project, you know, like it sounds crazy and wacky. I mean, it's not really that. Actually, modern music in an old setting, that's an old-fashioned idea. You know, you would well know, Bobbie, the Clang, Clang, Clang When the Trolley, sung by Judy Garland and Meet Me in St. Louis. That film's set in 1900. She's singing big band radio tunes from the 1940s. It's her music of our time, to understand another time and place. But, so it was just really a Baz project. It was like, well, as long as he doesn't go over this number, you know, we never understand anyway, so okay. You know, they were very supportive, I have to say.
Did you come in within budget and on time?
I was like, we were actually had a budget was slightly under 50, and we came in because we still get some rebate. I don't quite understand the numbers, but they've got to do a tax rebate because we shot in Australia, so it'll come in pretty close. We didn't come in on time in any way whatsoever, and we had lots of problems. I mean, more than problems. You know, my dad died on the very first day shooting, so there was that, and Nicole broke her rib twice, and then she smashed her knee. So I never finished shooting the film, and I had to go, once she had her operation, I had to go back and finish it in Madrid with her. So, you know, for that reason we missed Christmas and all that stuff. But you know, the studio were really there for us, and we did everything we needed to do to get it finished. So all my work always takes a lot longer than you think, you know.
Is it true that you shot some close-ups of Nicole when she was still on crutches?
Yes. Well, she does the scene where she says, a real actress, she is on crutches. Yeah, she was on crutches and in a wheelchair. I mean, it was really difficult, and she was amazingly brave, and I mean, she is a really gutsy person. That's an Aussie expression, I think, gutsy, Aussie.
And Texan.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. That's why we do well here. But she's a really gutsy gal and funny, and not quite, people have a perception of her through her films, and also because she's been part of a big royal couple in a way. You know what I mean? But she's unstoppable. You know, there's no way she was going to not finish those scenes, you know.
She fell down steps, was that it?
I've actually got the footage. You know, I don't want it to end up on hard copy or something, but she was dancing along. She fell from the top of stairs in the dance routine and hit the floor from like about 4 or 5 stairs up. So it was a very nasty accident.
In very spiked heels.
Very high heels. It's in the funny pink costume, you know, with the ostrich feather costume.
Yes.
She's like doing a samba and she falls off the top of the, trips all the way down the stairs. It was pretty ugly.
Was Tom Cruise ever on the set?
Yeah, Tom came a lot, actually. I mean, he was very, very supportive, and, you know, the whole break between them happened after the film. It was way in post. And, you know, he is in fact still a big supporter of the movie, you know. You know, relationships break up, but they're both extremely professional people, you know.
Were you surprised they broke up?
Yes, I was very surprised.
And you saw no signs of that during the filming?
No, at all. I mean,
It's a very difficult time for her because she, on the one hand, she has this terrible family situation going on, and on the other hand, she is out working her little buns off for this
well,
film.
you know, you've sort of hit it because she could have. There was a moment there when it happened, and she was falling into a hole, and it was like, does she pull back? And I was ready to just go out and bat the ball myself, and you know, we'd find a way. But she really realized that she had to get back up on that horse. I mean, on a one-on-one, not a problem. You know, you get a bit of, she's very, very crafted at being polite about maybe people being slightly more than, slightly impolite. But when you're doing those mass calls and you've got 200 journalists, one of them is going to say something. I mean, I've been on a radio station where I just thought someone said something so heartless and so, you know, trying to make a joke of a loss of, you know, that tragic pregnancy situation. That was so shocking. And she just took it with the greatest grace and elegance and turned it around. And in fact, the guy kind of, Mr. Funny, you know, sidekick comedian on a sort of local station somewhere, his other counterparts made him sort of apologise. It was quite amazing to watch. So it's made her strong, and the film is about the show must go on. And I think she's taken that really to heart. She has learnt the meaning of that, you know.
Well, again, Baz, thank you for coming to
It's always lovely talking.
And I hope the film does, you know, mega bucks for you.
Well, I hope at least an audience come, and I hope people take a little chance on it because I think they might be surprised.
And I plan to see it again
Oh, that's
because
good.
there's too much to take in the first time.
And that's me. I'm always a little bit too much to give it out, you know.
Thank you.
Nice to talk.
Quote, Fred, excuse me, you are still recording his sound.
Yes.
Okay, there was a quote that I wanted to ask you about. Owen Gleiberman's quote in Entertainment Magazine,
Oh, yeah.
where he said it directed by a madman with a palm buzzer.
Yeah. Well,
What is your reaction to that kind of stuff?
well, I set out to construct a very particular mechanism to allow us to accept people breaking out into song. That was my really big focus, you know, and that's fine. And you know, he may feel, and you know, I actually appreciate critics who go kind of, I didn't get it, and they're really honest about it. I can't buy into the contract. But forget me, forget him. Do we have a right to take away from those people that are coming out crying or clapping or whatever? Do we have a right to say to those people, you know, you're a fool for, you know, this madman with the palm buzzer, how dare you give him credibility by, you know, having an experience of this film? He breaks the rules of cinema, you know. And I don't really, I'm really just utilising different rules from different places in a new concoction, if you like.
Well, and that's what creativity is all about.
That's right. You know, my first film, Strictly Ballroom, it has an inbuilt message in it, which is, you know, the all-powerful Federation president is saying there's only one way to cha-cha-cha, and the dance teacher says, you know, but the kid who's inventing new steps says, but, you know, the audience liked it. And he goes, the audience, what would they know? You know? And that worries me.
Yes.
When people start playing like there's a secret rule book that only they know,
Right.
you know they're a little bit made unnerved by the fact that there is an audience. I mean, there's an audience relating to a new form. And more than anything, any screening, this is different on this film to my other pictures. Normally you never get past how good the premieres are. You know, but on this film, nothing has beaten the public screenings. The audience screenings are by far the best because the film is so tough on them, and they're so noisy, and they're so in there like, oh, come on, what's all this thing about with this bloody movie, you know? And like after the first 15 minutes, they're kind of like, do we leave now? And then and like one woman wrote, I was crying at the end. I had no idea how I got there, you know. And I thought that's what it's about. I'm trying to wake you up, to keep you constantly guessing, so that you actually do fall into an old-fashioned emotionality, you know.
Okay, Fred, we can do the reverse questions. Okay. No, Fred.
I'm just doing different shots.
Okay, you're trying to speed up. We're going to do now a reverse question.
Overall, I mean, Nicole
good.
was like sweating it. We went up on the plane and we were like, you know, oh my God. And I said, you know, we were talking about everyone, and I said, look, you know, if you're with a friend and they ask you something and you think it's going too far, how nice can you be about saying no?
Yeah.
And eventually it is television. They're going to move on, you know. So And she did it really well. I love the way she went, somebody help me, you know. I think everyone got worried so that, you know, someone's going to rush on the... It was lovely, I thought.
Okay, all right, here we go with the question. As in recent years, movie musicals have not been successful. A case in point, Evita, which I thought was a wonderful movie. So how many studios did you knock on the door before you were greenlighted by 20th Century Fox?
Well, we've had, you know, I've had a history of making films that people wouldn't want to make, you know, so it wasn't really, you know.
That's good,
Well,
that's
yeah.
good, all right, okay. Oh, here was one that I didn't ask, but I will ask it now. How many different endings did you shoot?
Only that one. I mean, did she die? Did she ever not die in the end? She always died in the end. The big structural changes I made actually were I moved the second act up a little bit. That was the main change there.
And that is a result of the testing?
No, actually it was a result of, I did it when I was shooting. So I actually did it mid-shoot, you know?
Yeah, okay.
I just realized I was too fat in the first act.
Right. I read that, I understand that this is a $50 million budget movie. I'm amazed that you could do something for 50. Is that let me, I'm getting too far afield here. I understand that this was a $50 million budget. Is that figure correct?
I mean, absolutely we did it for that dollar, and I'm really glad that you...
Okay. All right. Did you come in within budget and in time?
We came in, we were a little over budget, but actually I'm waiting for this tax rebate thing to come through, so it'll be about the right money.
Okay. Your previous movies, Strictly Ballroom and Romeo and Juliet, did better in the international market. Why is that?
Well, I think that they've progressively grown here, but they've always been about, you know...
How exactly did Nicole's knee injury occur?
Well, actually, she was dancing in that pink number on the top of some stairs, and she fell down several flights of stairs, so, you know, crashed her knee. So, I mean, it was in a dancing accident, really.
That's good. Was Tom Cruise ever on the set?
Yeah, Tom came quite a lot, actually, and he was very, very supportive, and he still is supportive of the film, actually.
Were you surprised when Tom and Nicole broke up?
Totally. I was very surprised.
And you saw no evidence of any problems when he was visiting the set?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. I think that